Well, that is a nice copper coin, but oh, Doug, do you know what time it is?
45 up.
Who says 45 up, Doug? It's quarter after. What's up, guys? Hoarder here, and welcome to a fun episode. I think it's going to be. I'm predicting the future of Quarter After with my new friend, Laurie Gagne, who I've seen her around the YouTube circles for almost a decade, and I'm really excited to get to know her a little bit. She's a lot of fun. It should be an exciting night, and she's got so much going on in her life. I don't know how she keeps track of it all, but we're going to have a really good time. Thank you all for joining us. Laurie will be on in 15 minutes. You know the deal. And before I say my hellos, I did want to give a couple of quick little announcements. Anyone that watches detecting channels may or may not have heard that our good friend, Laurie, who had the detecting channel Digging with Seven, he started the Relics radio podcast that when he stepped away now, DK and Tony host every week. But Laurie passed away. Great guy. We were friends for a long time. I read his book several years ago. So my condolences to the family. We lost a good one today. So I hate to start the show on bad news, but I had a lot of respect for Laurie and I wanted to get up. And then I wanted to make another announcement, on a little bit of happier note. I saw today that the Show Me 2026 hunt in Missouri tickets go on sale tomorrow. It's one of my favorite hunts. I'm sure we're going to try to go. Mitch and Renita do an awesome job. I saw Scott Cash in the chat. He's a big part of the show. They go on sale tomorrow. Make sure you check it out. You can look them up on Facebook. Show Me Pro-Am Treasure Hunt. Number 3, new location. Should be one heck of a super duper fun time. So with that being said, let me bring in one of the most handsome people I know. Psych. Mr. Dog Tag Doug. Doug, where are you? Oh. I don't see you, Doug. Actually, you know what, Doug? You've never looked better.
That's great.
Doug, leave and come back. I can't see you. I'm going to kick you out. Leave and come back.
Okay, I'll come back.
All right, I'm kicking Doug out. I'm kicking him out. I should have did this years ago. I'll bring in Lynn. She's much more pleasant to look at. Lynn, how are you?
Good. And you?
I'm good. In the pre-show, everyone looked good. Everyone sounded good. And then I don't know what happened. Doug,
he's just a big black square
big
there.
Black screen. That's okay. I still like Doug.
Right.
So now I'm excited. Anything exciting going on up your way? I heard there's big storms rolling in.
Big storms, but we had one earlier this afternoon and it cooled things off, from the 100 degrees down to, I think, 70 something.
Tomorrow's going to be like a high of 74. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm just going to go roll around the yard. It's been so muggy the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's nasty. So, yeah, we got a few good days anyway.
All right, well, I'm excited. Let me do a couple of hellos while I'm waiting for Doug, and I see Charlie back there. Chris Heimsoth, my good friend, also from Missouri. Looks like I think he's going to try to go this year. It'll be nice. Prairie Pirate, our good friend David Chumley. Bobcat Trail Farm. That's a new one for me. Welcome, Bobcat. Teresa, the treasure hunter, one of our moderators. Love Teresa. Thank you for being here. She does a great job. Barbara Dirt Pirate Connell Morrow. Awesome, who we'll talk about more in December when she does her. She does it like a children's detector giveaway every year around the holidays. She's quite an asset to the community. So we'll make sure we plug her as that gets close. And talking about that, before I bring them back in, let me just share this little picture real fast. Lynn, if you remember last week when we had Don on, we gave away the $1,000 metal detecting prize pack.
Right.
Well, I got a picture. It arrived yesterday. So there's our buddy Maurice, who I didn't know when he won it, but I asked him to send me a photo. He got a whole legend prize pack. He was super excited. There he is right there, Maurice. He said he had an AT Pro and it was giving him problems and it died, so the timing couldn't have been better.
Oh, nice.
So thank you very much, Maurice. If you're here, if you're not here, Maurice, I'm never talking to you again. After I gave you that machine. No, I'm like, Maurice, thank you. Thank you very much for the picture.
Yeah.
But here they are. There's Doug back again. Now you look better, Doug. I don't know what happened to you.
Yeah, I think when you introduced me as the most handsome or whatever, the computer realized you were lying and wouldn't allow my likeness to show up. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, like I said,
The
you never.
computer's smarter than you are.
Yeah. That was your best angle right there, and you're just totally covered. Yeah. You should start wearing a burqa when we go detecting.
I got a face for radio, right?
Yeah. Oh, you should start wearing a burqa when we go detecting.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that, especially in 100-degree temperatures.
Yeah.
Well, now that 100 degrees have passed. And last but not least, I don't want to leave him hanging. The handsome and charismatic Charlie, the Heritage Relic. How are you, Charlie?
Good. I just walked in the door about 10 minutes ago. I was out with some friends. I'm actually down here at the beach for a week with my wife.
Oh, you're at your beach house doing the show from your beach house.
Beach house. And I'm using my phone, and it's on top of coasters. I have a couple of pillows and coasters to set things up.
Oh, so I thought you were coming back home from the beach today. You decided to stay?
No. Actually, no. We're tomorrow, I guess. But I heard they had some real bad storms back home, as much as 6 inches of rain in some locations, and lightning, and actually we're getting some here now. As soon as I speak to you guys, I can hear the rumbling in the background here. Oh, but I'm glad the heat is disappearing, because that's one of the reasons why I came down here. Couldn't stand the heat back in PA, and it was better down here, but it's still even hot down here, except if you're along the ocean, which is a few miles from here.
Hey, Charlie. Grab your 9-iron, climb up on the roof, and hold it straight up. See what happens.
That's
what my wife tells me. Since I got a new insurance policy, she's been telling me to do the same thing.
I know. Me and her have been talking.
Don't
you gotta split the proceeds.
Don't take that. Oh, look, I see Steph Diggs is in the chat. Our good friend Steph.
Hi, Steph.
Yeah. Steph is the one that kind of helped me get in touch with Laurie.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I watched some of her videos today. It's pretty cool stuff.
No, very good. And then, and I didn't even realize that I'm Facebook friends with Laurie after I talked to Steph. You know, because I don't use my name Facebook account anymore, so I don't remember who I'm friends with. I only use like that new Hoarder one, and you don't like have friends with that. I still don't know how it works.
He forgets that every week, doesn't he, Charlie?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not a Facebook guy. I muddle through as best I can.
While Steph is in the chat, I just want to tell her, come on down, drive on down, and take us all for a ride in her new Jeep.
I saw that Jeep. That was awesome. Doug. Well, you know what? Listen, I don't know. Steph must be doing something right, because I wanted one of those Jeeps, but they're expensive. Yeah. So I don't know. She either held someone up or she found a pot of gold and ain't telling anybody. Well, but I saw it. That was nice.
I saw the Jeep, and I said to her about when she's going to start getting the duckies for it. She might not know what I'm talking about, but I do have a ducky for her dashboard.
Oh, well, we should all send her one.
We'll send her a ducky.
Yeah.
Is it a duck or a frog?
It's all little duckies, all different duckies.
I think if you buy a Jeep, it automatically comes with ducks now. I think it comes with some.
Well, I'm well on my way to getting a Jeep. I've got a Jeep hat.
Okay, that's a good start.
One of these days, I'll get the Jeep to wear it in.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Jason? This is a big thing with Jeeps, with these duckies on the dash. I have an F-150 4x4, and my wife bought me a ducky for the dash.
Oh, you're trying to transition over to that
transition.
Charlie's in transition, huh?
He always has been. Yeah,
my Ford is identifying as a Jeep right now.
Oh, hold on, wait. Steph is saying that it was a steal, low mileage, one owner, 2014. It looked beautiful. I mean, it looked really nice when I saw it. It looked like it may have even had like aftermarket wheels and like a lift kit put in. It looked big. So unless Steph shrank since I've seen her last.
Steph,
her permissions now are getting slimmer and slimmer. She got that Jeep now to go way
she can get back into the woods.
Back through the woods.
I want to know if she hotwired it or was it at gunpoint she got it.
Doug, we'll have Steph's Jeep on as a future guest.
Yes. Like old Nellie Bell. Remember Nellie Bell, Charlie?
No, I'm just humoring. I have no idea.
All right. Anybody in the chat remember Nellie Bell?
Anybody born before the Civil War understand Doug's reference? No, I'm not sure.
All right. Start talking.
I'm going to put up a little surprise picture before Laurie comes on, which will be in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Now, Laurie, I assumed her last name was pronounced Gagne, and it was. I checked before the show because I wasn't sure if it was Gagne. Like I didn't want to mess it up, but it is Gagne.
That was
Gagne.
French.
Yeah, like French Canadian, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
And
She's
the
Cajun.
only reason I thought it was Gagne is because I remember as a kid, Doug. I was a big wrestling fan as a kid.
Yes.
There was a wrestler named Vern Gagne. So as an homage to Laurie, I have a photo of a young Vern Gagne doing an off-the-top rope wrestling stomp. Now, listen, Laurie has nothing to do with wrestling. I'm just putting it out there that the name, when I saw Gagne, it just invokes these memories of my childhood of watching these guys in tight little shorts roll around the ground with each other.
Yeah, I know you like that.
Well, it was cool. Listen. It was super cool, Doug.
Our Philadelphia Flyers had a Simon Gagne for a good number of years.
Okay,
I think he scored while he was with the Flyers 194 goals.
Is that a lot of goals? I don't even know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'll bring up Steph again. Steph's gonna be like a side guest today. Her last name is pronounced Tanji. Is that right? No, it's not. Laurie is the only one that can pronounce it correctly. Wow, I can pronounce it Tangway or Tangaway. So, but I see Laurie in the green room saying no. So I guess Steph's right.
Wow. I think she would know how to pronounce her own name.
We pronounce it how we want.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it is Tanya. Maybe Steph has a French Canadian name. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. Hard G's, he's saying. Tang. I'll have Laurie pronounce it. I don't have that dialect, Doug. I can't do it. I'll have
You're
Laurie.
from Philly.
Well, I'm not from Philly, but it's close to Philly. Doug, just for you, I also have a picture of Simone Gagne.
There you go.
I didn't want to leave you out.
Thank you.
But let me bring in the most important Gagne of the evening. If you're not familiar with her, Laurie's had a YouTube channel longer than mine, Doug. I think it's like 12 years plus, called Relic Dirtyhands. She goes out with her partner, Eric, finds some incredible things up north of the border in Canada. She's also our first international guest, Doug. Did you know that? First international. That's right. Only because everyone else turned me down when I asked. No, I'm kidding. But Laurie, first international, Relic Dirtyhands, Minelab Detexpert, who's done it many years. Some wicked cool tutorials, too, if you're a Minelab swinger. And then currently, I'm going to say the star of Red River Gold, a new television show, which is super exciting to have television people on 2 weeks in a row, Doug. So let's give her a big round of applause. Our new friend, Laurie Gagne. Let me bring you the big screen, Laurie. Hold on. Don't wave yet. There you are. Now you may wave.
There you go. Hi.
I always mess that up. Laurie, thank you so much for joining us today.
She looks like she's sporting an aqua chigger hat, doesn't she?
That's actually like her. That's been her known hat for a long time.
Before Chig, huh?
Maybe. I don't know about before Chig. He's been doing it since like the 60s, but it's a long. What do you call that kind of hat, Laurie?
I don't know.
Make something up.
Newsboy.
A newsboy. All right, that could be right. A newsboy hat.
Something like that. But yeah, it's been a hat. Like I had a green camo one probably like 10 years ago I used to wear, and then I got a gray one, and that's mostly what I was wearing for Red River Gold. But then I needed a black one, and I finally just got myself a black one. So I have multiple.
Well, that newsboy, if that's what it's even called, has been like your signature hat, I think, from the beginning, hasn't it?
It has for quite a long time. Long time.
That's part of the look, Doug. That's part of her look.
Yeah.
I have to thank Eric for it, because I actually stole his hat when we first met, and it was a black hat just like this one. And I literally stole it from him. So I'll blame Eric on my hat.
Well, he's got good fashion sense then, right?
Steph says it's a Goldie hat. Whatever.
A Goldie hat. There we go.
Yeah, her nickname is Goldie. Laurie Goldie Gagne. It's a lot of G's. But Laurie, listen, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. And I'd love to jump in and hear, right off the bat, I like to call it your origin story. How did Laurie, the young girl, get involved in metal detecting? What first got you interested that now all these years later, you still have a passion for it?
Well, I'm going to blame my dad at a very, very young age. He turned me into a treasure hunter without even a detector. And then it was actually him who had a detector in his basement when I was about 17. But he always told me growing up, he's like, keep your eyes on the ground. You know, there's always stuff to be found. And I just remember while everybody was playing in the schoolyard, I was looking on the ground, and the winter thaw, like when winter went, was my favorite time because there was always all sorts of stuff to find. But at around 17 years old, he had a metal detector that he had gotten from a garage sale. I put in all the batteries, you know, and on the detector had like these 3 knobs. And back then we didn't even have internet, right? I didn't even have a manual. I had no internet. I didn't even know anybody who detected. So I took all 3 buttons and I cranked them all the way
all the way to the max.
all the way to the max. So only today I realized that I must have turned on the discrimination to the max, because that thing was silent. There was like nothing in the ground.
Yeah, silver or nothing.
So I put it back in the basement. I was like, forget it. And then probably about over 16 years ago or so, we picked up a metal detector. Eric was working with somebody and he mentioned that he metal detected, and I was super excited. And I got up at like 5 o'clock the next morning and I'm on the computer and I'm looking for a used detector because we couldn't buy any new around us. Next thing you know, I bring Eric a coffee. I'm all excited. You know, I found a detector, and we end up meeting a guy in a parking lot at a mall. And we bought our first detector out of the trunk of his car.
Oh, wow.
Felt so sketchy. It felt so sketchy. And, you know, I'm passing him a few $100 because it was like $350 for
That's a lot for a used machine.
Right. And it was a GTA 550. So
I think Garrett. Yeah, the Garretts.
Right. So this is, you know, the one that we pulled out, and oh my gosh, that's how it really started. And I just haven't stopped since. And I just remember going and telling Eric, let's go to the beach. It's like October and it's really cold here in October. And I went to the beach and I was all excited and I'm like, oh, it says it's gold. It says it's gold. And I pulled out a bottle cap or a full tab. And Eric was just looking, going, like, oh God, and he wasn't enjoying it.
He's done.
And he was done. I got mad at him. I'm like,
early exit.
And he's like, I'm not going to ruin it for you, babe. You continue. I'm just going to go warm up in the car. You know?
That's what I do when I go shopping with my wife. You go have fun. I'll wait in the car.
Yeah. So, you know, so this is kind of how it got started. And then I went to my grandfather's farm and I found my first large scent.
Wow,
and,
really?
So I call up Eric and I'm trying to describe it to him. And the guy he was working with metal detected. So he's like, wait a second, I'll pass you, I'll pass you Peter. And so he passes me Peter, Mick, yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, he passes me the phone and I describe it to him and he's like, congratulations, you just found your first large scent. And I was just like, what? I never knew these existed. And my mind was blown. And then Eric, who was a coin collector.
Now he's interested again.
Now he was like, you can find old coins. Yeah. And from that moment, we had to share the detector for about 7 years. It was his turn, my turn.
7 years?
7 years? Wow.
Now, there's another reason for it. We had very young kids. I think my daughter.
You're broke. Yeah, you're broke. You have to, I get
right.
it.
My daughter was 1.5 years and my son was 3. So we always needed somebody to be keeping at least an eye and an ear out on them. So we would go out with the kids and we would kind of take turns, and it was like each one our turn and stuff like that. So that's why we shared it for about 7 years. But and it was great to get our own finally. It was like there's no more sharing,
Now, when you shared it, was like one person on pinpoint duty and the other person, or was just like one person was with the kids and then you'd switch?
Yeah. So one person would be like, Eric would be building a fort with him, or I'd be looking at medicinal and edible plants in the forest, and we'd have a tent, we'd have a swing, we'd bring all sorts of stuff. So one of us, and it was basically one find. So as soon as he found something, then it was my turn. And then, so we did that way. And sometimes we'd all be together, obviously, and watching and all that sort of stuff. But that's kind of how it all began for us. It was
that's exciting. Now, your first large scent, was it a U.S. or a Canadian? Because like I told everybody, you're our first international guest. Yep. Laurie is up in Canada.
It was a Canadian large scent, but I have found quite a few American coins.
Oh, I know you have.
Our side of the border. And actually, I think one of my oldest coins is a French double tournoi, but next after I think is my Vermont token. I found a Vermont state token and a Connecticut state token.
Are you talking about the state copper coins?
Yeah, state coppers. That's it.
Okay.
The Connecticut one and the Vermont one.
Well, you're so close to the border that I say you're Canadian, but really you find the same stuff we kind of find, but you find more Canadian than we do, so you kind of get a bonus.
Probably. Yeah. But you see, our coins were minted until 1858. So previous to using our coinage, we did have a lot of U.S. coinage from Britain coins, and American coins, and we had all sorts of coins mixed up here in Canada before we started minting our own. So
now do you find a lot of Spanish silver up there as well?
You know, this is the one find that's eluded me.
Oh, Doug, thanks a lot for getting her all sad now, Doug.
Well, I'm just thinking it was an international coinage, and you know.
All right, let her answer. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I've seen a lot, Doug, beside me, around me, and it's the one that's been eluding me for all these years. And it's gotten to the point that I've given up. I'm like, if it happens one day, it's going to happen. But the Spanish silver is the one that it has eluded me. Eric's got a few. I've seen my friends dig a few on the same field as I am.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
I was digging 6 inches or 7 inches in a farm field, and I saw a shiny coin. I was all excited. And then my buddy Matt yells out, "Spanish!" And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm looking, and I pull it out, and I got a clad quarter. So
that's a kick in the teeth.
And I go running, and his Spanish is sitting right on the surface. And I'm like,
I hate that.
Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes to have that coin that's eluded you for so long, that's like motivation to keep going out, because you know it's just a matter of time. And so every time you go out there, maybe today's the day. Maybe it's the day.
I hate being disappointed, so that's why I said I've given up on it. So that way I'm not disappointed anymore, and when it happens, I'll be super excited.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, I love clad Washington quarters. I know a guy that hoards them, but I just don't remember his name offhand.
Right.
I don't remember. So I lost my track here. So, all right. So you get this metal detector. You and Eric are doing it 7 years, sharing it, finding cool stuff.
Yeah.
What made you then say, "Hey, I know, let's start a YouTube channel"? Because listen, like, I'm not saying you're as old as I am, but we're not like 16 years old. So as a grown up, especially back then, to say I'm going to do a YouTube channel was a little weird.
I thought I was a little too old for it. I did.
I'm not saying too old, but we were more mature. In theory.
Right. And to me, like, I saw a lot of young people, moving around. But for me, it was a friend of mine that got me to do it. He had started a YouTube channel, and I think there was only 2 people in Canada that had a metal detecting YouTube channel at the time. Wow. And he's like, "Laurie, you find the coolest stuff. People's got to see this, And he just really thought we found really great stuff and we should share. So I said, okay, this will be a different way instead of just posting pictures on forums, because back then it was all forums and not Facebook. So I said, well, as a different way, then I'll try to make a little video as a different way of showing our finds. And it was really just to share with the Canadian Metal Detecting Forum and the friends that were there. And that's kind of really how it started. I didn't even show my face, I think, for 2 or 3 years. I was afraid to show my face. I didn't want to show my kids. I didn't, but then you see some of the beginning ones and you can hear us, but you can't see us. And then slowly I started turning the camera and started talking more to the camera and everything else. Yeah. But
it's an evolution. A lot of I didn't show my face for the first maybe 6 to 8 months.
Right.
And what's great too about channels that have been around a long time is that you keep those old videos up so people can go back and see the progression, see how like the confidence of just making videos goes up, like the quality goes up. That's such a good journey.
I was so embarrassed by some of my first ones, but I leave them up. Some of the weirdest stuff would come out of my mouth, like, "Oh, so sweet," and stuff like. I'm like, I don't.
That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
But you know what? They're still up there, and I get to laugh at myself. And so the beginning was, it was all about learning. But for me, it was really the art of creating. I was so excited that I was able to create a video. Like, I was And, you know, over the years, yes, you just keep on improving and improving and improving. And I just absolutely love the art of creating the video. So that's how I started. That's why I got started. I never expected to go from there to where I am today. I never expected.
Oh, I know. That's quite a journey. I mean, that you've really accomplished a lot of stuff in what was just a hobby, you know, and I know the feeling, you know, your hobbies become almost like, you know, they take over because it just gives you happiness.
I definitely can say that my hobby had turned into my profession at this point, especially for the past 2 years. So
yeah, we'll get into that. I don't want to jump the gun yet, but Laurie's, you know, she's done some big things. So listen, you got this YouTube channel now. How did you come up with the name? Because I always thought that name was catchy. It was different. It was fun. How did you come up with the name Relic Dirtyhands?
So when I first found my large set and different things, I was advised to maybe join a forum, an online forum. And this way people can help us out with tips and we can learn stuff. And so I joined a forum. But before I could even join, they asked me for a name. And I had to use not my real name. So they suggested not your real name. And I was sitting there and I just came back from a hunt and I had a bunch of relics. No, wait, it wasn't relics yet. And I just looked down and I had really dirty hands. And then there's me and Eric and our kids that were metal detecting together. So I was like, dirty hands. And this is who we were. But then when I joined YouTube, they asked me for a first and last name. And I'm like, I don't have a first name. And you couldn't just add one name into YouTube. So I was like, well, we like to find relics. So it's Relic Dirty Hands. So that's my name.
I think it's really cool, whether it was accidental or not. I think it was really an iconic name. It's a name that you remember. You know what I mean? Like, especially as YouTube progressed and there was so many detecting channels, I think the name kind of helps you stand out a little bit. And I always thought that was a winning combination. So kudos to that. I want to mention when my other moderators came in, Hot Mess Fish and Alicia. Thank you, Alicia. I saw you come in. I appreciate you making it. So your very first video that you published and put out there, do you remember that video? And do you remember like watching it back and like at the time, like were you like a little nervous? Because now you're putting yourself out there for criticism in a world that can be harsh sometimes.
You know, at first, no, because like I said, I was doing it with friends just to share with friends. And I found that my friends were really, really encouraging. I mean, I look back at the bit of my first videos and I'm like, they're terrible. But a lot of people were like, oh my God, they're so good. And I love it. And because people were really encouraging, you know, it was, yeah, I forget where I was going with that.
No, just about your first one. And like, you know, looking back now, you're probably a little cringy with it. But at the time, because you didn't develop the knowledge of making higher quality videos.
And like I said, I had a lot of support from friends. So I wasn't really all that nervous. I think I got a lot more nervous when I started producing Relic News.
And then your interview style show.
Right. So when I had to set myself up and you know, filming me and trying to remember all this stuff and, you know, all of this stuff, I think that's when a lot of anxiety would hit me before releasing those videos. And they had to do with other people. And I wanted to make sure that I made people look good. And, you know, I didn't want to mess them up. And so I think that's where a lot more anxiety happened. And then I started growing and having a bigger following. And the more people that were following me that I didn't know, it was a little more nerve-wracking. And before I released almost every single video, I would get really nervous and get some anxiety. And it's not something that I really enjoyed. I think it's one of the parts I didn't enjoy about YouTube was that anxiety before releasing video.
It's tough. It does take a while to get to. Now, do you and Eric, do you each edit the video? Are you the editor? Like, is it a joint effort? How does that work behind the scenes?
Yeah, I'm the editor. So I was the one who was doing all the editing. Eric, after a few years, we had gotten him a second camera. So then he was able to start filming because it was really me that was filming, editing, the whole shebang. Then when he started getting, I started getting really, because when you're in a group hunt and you're the only one filming, you're running to everybody all the time.
You're telling me.
And then you don't find anything and you're like, well, everybody's going to think I suck, you know? but they have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. So as soon as Eric got a camera, it was awesome. Now we're a team. So whoever was the closest, we had this thing, whoever was closest, they're the ones who had to run. So it gave us both actually an opportunity and made some of those group hunts and filming those group hunts a little easier.
That's cool. And you get a different perspective from different camera angles, which is really nice. I did the same thing. I try to incorporate different ones just to mix up, and it keeps it, you know, after a while, things start to get a little stagnant. You're starting to like, you know, you need to stay motivated. So by even adding an extra camera, a different dynamic, kind of keeps you interested.
Well, you see it. That's why they do it on TV. You know, you see them looking front, then they see side, and then they're changing the image about every 5 seconds. And this is all has to do with audience retention.
Sure.
So people who want to leave really long and boring things and not change the camera, well, your audience retention might be a little lower. So
yeah, it's hard to stay. It's tough. It's tough to be objective and watch your own stuff back and say, like, if I didn't know me, would I watch this? You know, and it's hard to step outside and look in sometimes.
Very hard.
So now, before I get into your channel, which, like I said, it's been around for over a decade. You know, not only amazing finds, but somewhere along the line, you became a Minelab Detexpert, which is the guru, the experts of that Minelab catalog. And you put out some great tutorials to help new people or even experienced people learn that machine. How did you get into the Detexpert program? Because that's a pretty prestigious thing in our world.
Right. You know, this was actually kind of a long build up to that. I remember the Detexpert program, and I remember coming to Canada and somebody being a Detexpert at that time. At that time, I didn't feel like I would even be ready to apply. At that time, I wasn't really into the technology. But then I had one detector that gave me an extremely hard time. And I wanted to it went back to the manufacturer a few times and stuff. I'm not going to say which one. But I almost felt like I wanted to quit. I just wanted to wrap this thing around the tree. I thought it was me, but it turned out actually it was a detector too. So, and then I ended up getting the Minelab Equinox. And as soon as I got that, I was like, no, I need to understand this. I need to understand it. So I went through the manual with a fine-tooth comb, asking every question that I could. There's a lot of terminology like recovery speed, iron bias, all these different things I've never even heard of before. Even sensitivity, you know, and how the sensitivity works. I had to go all the way back down to basics on how a metal detector worked for me to fully understand how to use all the settings. And what I did at the time, my kids also have attention deficit disorder, and we were working at their school with a lot of audio visual aids. So when I saw the audio visual and how it really helps my kids, I figured there's a lot of people out there like me that struggle with the manual, that needs to read it 3, 4, 5 times, or just don't bother reading it because it's, you know. So I figured that if I broke them all down into really simple and try to say it the most simplest terms I could probably help a lot of people out there. And that's how my tutorials came about. But that was like, I worked on that for a good year. I did 6 months of writing up a lesson plan and the studying of it. And then another 6 months of making out the videos before I even started releasing them. So I know the Equinox was already out for about 1.5 years, but it basically took me that much time to work on those tutorials. And then I released them. And then after I did the tutorials, I was a lot more confident and I understood the technology behind the machines a lot more. So that's when I applied for the Minelab Detexpert program. And Debbie and everybody was like, yes. And so I applied for it and I got it. And ever since then, I've been with them as Minelab Detexpert. So it's been amazing. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, well, your Equinox tutorial videos were done really well, very professional. So when you're applying, and I know Debbie pretty well, so when you're like, hey, Debbie, you know, I see there's an opening. Oh, by the way, did you see this library of tutorials? I'm sure that helped to help your case.
I did know Debbie because I met Debbie for about 3 years, I think prior. Maybe I met Debbie at different events in Toronto. I would stick around after, asking her if she needed any help, put everything away. Eric and I were like the last ones to leave every single event. I don't know why. We just like to talk a lot. But so I did get to meet Debbie, and she did mention up to me about the Detexpert program, but I told her I wasn't ready at that time. So 2 years later, that's when I applied. Once I felt that I've studied, I have a good understanding of the metal detectors, and I think it was time that I can go ahead and make that next step. So, because I just want to help people and I want to teach people. I love teaching, and I tutor people almost every day. I get people all the time contacting me, and I'm helping them out better understanding their detectors. So
no, it is. It's really good. And then you did one for their newer machine, the Manticore. You had that's a much harder machine if you're new to the hobby. And you and Eric worked on those together. Again, really good.
Well, I wrote a book too on the Equinox.
I didn't know you wrote a book.
Yeah, it was, but it was an unpublished book because I really wanted to make it free for everybody. I didn't want anybody have to pay for it.
Oh, wow.
So I made it as, basically a shareable Adobe book, online book called Maximize Your Minelab Equinox. And then after that, I did test the Manticore for over a year before the release. So before they released the Manticore, they contacted me and asked me if I'd like to be a part of that project. And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. So for an entire year, I had to be quite hush-hush while we were working on the Manticore. But it was really exciting. And yeah, when the Manticore was released, I did make a few tutorials for that. Very basic. I didn't make as many for the Manticore that I did for the Equinox, because I'm basically going to be repeating myself, because settings and the understanding behind the settings are the exact same through the Equinox and the Manticore. So, but yeah.
You had the Manticore almost a year before it came out. They really must have had their done. Listen, I work with Nokta a lot, and I do their tutorials. I'm lucky if I get it a week before it comes out. And I'm like, you had it a whole year. That's a nice cushion to really know that machine inside and out.
It does. It really gave me the opportunity to be able to learn it as well. So as soon as it was released, I did see Luke. He had one shirt, which I really wanted, that says, "I survived the Manticore release." And I wanted that shirt so bad, because my God, it was crazy after the release. The amount of people that didn't understand the machine, that kept on saying it's the machine. Our favorite comment was, "It's user error," and I would just look at somebody's screen and I would know right away what's going on. And I'm like, "Then you're you have the sensitivity jacked up. You can't use the Manticore that way. It's not meant to be that way." So you just basically, it's crazy, wild. Now I'm assuming that's still your go-to machine.
That if you go out to detecting today.
Yeah.
Did Debbie ultimately give you and Eric your own Manticores? I got to find out. Or are you back to staring?
No, you see, Eric and I were both supposed to be doing the testing, and we started off. Eric was doing the first part of the testing, and then as soon as I got a hold of the detector, I couldn't share with him. We shared for too long. I couldn't share anymore. I'm like, that's it. I love this. I'm taking it over. So I basically took the Manticore over, but it was a prototype. So it was a prototype Manticore. And then after the release, I got my Manticore. And Eric was using the 900, and he stuck to using the 900 all year last year. And then this year, he's like, "I'm going to take out the prototype." So we have a Manticore and the prototype. So the one that I was using for testing. And ever since then, he hasn't let go of my prototype. I think he used the 900 once after, but he loves the fact that he's not detecting blind anymore. And that's how I like to say it, is you don't detect blind anymore. There's a lot of information on that screen that allows you to make great decisions and really good decisions.
I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with it. I've played with Steph a very little bit when we get together with Steph, but I've seen nothing but positive reviews about the machine. So I'm excited for that. Now, what do you enjoy making more, detecting videos or these tutorials, knowing that you're helping people? I'm sure there's a lot more work goes into the tutorial. It might not be as fun, but it's got to be rewarding after the fact.
So I would say, I think the videos that I enjoyed producing the most was probably my digging videos. But the videos that I had most self-gratification from, that had the most value to me is the tutorials, because whenever I would get that message saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is, now I completely understand it. The way you worded it. Thank you. I got it. And, just hearing people's feedback like that, it almost makes me cry. I just want to cry because I'm like, I remember being there and I remember struggling. And if I can help somebody get over that learning curve quicker before they get frustrated and give up, I've done my job.
No, I agree. Listen, without those tutorial videos, it's like you with that GTA 550 where people are getting the machine, blasting all the buttons to max, and then they have a miserable time because it ain't working right.
Exactly.
So no, that's a big kudos to you.
Thank you.
And Eric, I don't want to leave Eric out. I'm sure he was, even if he was watching the kids while you did it.
Yeah. You know what? Everything that I've gotten to do, I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. Eric has always been right by my side, even though a lot of people didn't see it. I mean, sometimes he's the one who was cooking supper because I had to get that video out. Sometimes it was him that was, he always picked up the slack. And he was so supportive through all of my journey that I would say this has been a 50-50. All of my successes, I give 50% credit to Eric for them.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And he's a big part of the YouTube. Let me put a picture of it up. Let me get a picture of it up. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a picture of our YouTube channel up, Relic Dirtyhands. Make sure you check it out. Like I said, 12 years strong. What was your favorite detecting video that you ever put out, Laurie? I'll put you on the spot. Your favorite one?
The gold nugget bracelet. Golden nugget bracelet. It was lost. The lost gold nugget bracelet.
Do you have that nearby?
That one was probably in 2019, I think. If I remember correctly, it was out when I went to British Columbia. The reason why I just love it because I was able to tell a story. And I think that was one of the first videos where I got to really tell a story. That's when I started more storytelling back then. And with this one, it's just that the whole story about it. Okay, I hope I have time to tell you guys. It's a great
Absolutely.
story.
And if you have the bracelet, you're welcome to hold it up. I don't have a photo of that.
Okay. So back 25 years ago, 25 years from that day of that video, this older gentleman, he was having a party and his son had given him this big gold nugget bracelet. I think it was 4.6 ounces. And he had given them this beautiful bracelet. Anyways, he had a bunch of people coming over. He was drinking. And then he's like, all of a sudden he got this uneasy feeling. He didn't trust everybody that was at the party. So I guess it was maybe some sketchy people. So he had decided that night he would take that gold nugget bracelet and he would walk out to the mountains. And we're talking out in British Columbia, the big, beautiful Rockies. So he walked out to the back of his place and he walked up this path and by this creek and he literally buried that gold nugget bracelet. 25 years passed. Well, let's go back 18, I think maybe it was 18 years that had passed and he lost his son. Unfortunately, his son had passed away. So he went back looking for that bracelet almost every day, like for 25 years, he said. He's been looking for it, searching for it, and he couldn't find it. So friends of ours we were up visiting friends of ours and he had gotten the call. And he's like, sure, we're a group of us. We can just head out and go take a look. And I mean, it took about 10 minutes and Marty, one of the guys we were with, found the gold nugget bracelet about 10 minutes. And the old man's reaction when he just looked and he went, no shit. I hope I can say that.
Well, you already said it.
I had to. It was awesome. And, his reaction was just, it was so touching. And I think, the whole story of it all gets me really emotional. And I think that's why it was one of my favorites.
Did you see the grown man cry?
Sure.
No,
he didn't cry.
No, he didn't cry, but he just said he has to go and get himself a girlfriend now. So he made me cry. I thought he was super adorable, and I definitely cried throughout that one.
And you said it was a 4 ounce of gold bracelet?
4.6 ounces of gold, yeah.
Wow, Doug, you know how much that's got to be worth? That's got to be worth like 14, 15 grand in gold alone.
Or more.
I think it was worth about close to $5,000 at the time. But I mean, the gold prices have quadrupled since then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be way, way up there now. So
no, that's pretty amazing. And like I said, there's no better feeling to give something back. And I would have tried to tickle him or something. So we tried carry an onion in your back pocket. Like, come on, man, I got a camera. Let me see at least.
He did. It was like something like 10 o'clock in the morning, but he did offer us wine, and I was like, no, it's too early to drink. Too early to drink. Yeah. It was like 10:30 in the morning.
That's a little early.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorites. But then again, the other one, when I had found my 2 favorite finds, that video too is mind blowing. It's middle of winter on the St. Lawrence. And we might talk about that after, but let's
bring it up now before I get into the TV show.
Okay, so
I know you were nice enough to have them next to you to show everybody.
Right. So in this video, it was January, and as a lot of people know here in Canada, January is frozen solid. Like we go 4 feet frozen solid. And the St. Lawrence water had dropped. They had to do some repairs. So the St. Lawrence had dropped, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, we got some unfrozen ground. We got to go and check it out. And back then, the St. Lawrence did have a lot of villages that's now drowned because of damming and everything else back in the 1950s. Well, that day I found my 2 favorite finds. One of them is a Vexador Canadiensis coin. There's only about 400 known in existence.
I have a picture. Hold on. I have a picture, not of yours, but of one in general. This is one of the other few in existence. But again, tell us about it.
That's it. Only about 400 known in existence. And it was a coin that was like a counterfeit coin minted in Montreal. They believe it was in Montreal. And it actually mocks the Governor General at the time. So it's quite a funny story to that coin. So yeah, it was a counterfeit, and they were mocking. And they said that if they were ever caught with it, they were going to say that they have a fur tradesman, what looks on the bust. So they were going to say, oh, they're just trade tokens. They're just trade tokens. So they weren't using them as currency, but they actually were using them as currency, and they were counterfeit. So that one was really cool. And that same day, I also found
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that one there. This is a shackle plate, I guess, up on the hat.
Yeah, on the tall hat.
And this is from St. Croix Island. And this one brought me in a huge rabbit hole of research. And it all has to do with the slave trade. Wow. So it's on St. Croix Island. I believe it's owned by the United States now, St. Croix.
Yeah. I pronounce it St. Croix, but you have that better accent than I do.
Okay, St. Croix. Okay, St. Croix is Croix in French. That's how we spell it.
Okay.
Croix. That's why I say Croix. But
it sounds much better when you say it than when I say it.
So that's another one. That one, I went through all the research, and I found out a lot about the slave trade and stuff, which I didn't even recall getting to know in history, so some of the finds that we find, it's absolutely incredible what we learn from them. And this one, I learned a lot from it. And it's one of my my favorite relic, and that was my favorite coin. But also, I have to say, I love my Vermont and Connecticut token.
State copper.
State copper. Okay, so we have tokens. You guys have
that's fine. I mean,
the state copper. And I'm trying to remember. This is in 1852. I found that.
Oh, seated.
Oh, seated.
Yeah, a really nice seated.
Is that a quarter?
Yeah.
Okay, they're hard to find, those seated quarters.
Yeah, I looked them up, and it said it was pretty rare. So
what year is it?
Worth like 3,000 or something. I don't know.
Wow.
1852.
52. I don't have all the mint marks, the years memorized, but I'll tell you what, we're lucky if we get, a seated quarter every 2 years. The whole group of us gets one.
Oh, really? And it has
hard to find.
Is it an O mint mark?
Yes, New Orleans.
Yeah, I guess it could be. I'll have the chat Google it. 1852 O mint mark.
Right.
Seated quarter. Give me a mintage, somebody. Look up a mintage for me.
I think that has to be like that's my favorite, like one of my 3 favorite American coins that I found. But that one, I was really blown away. I found it right in the front of a soccer net, and it was pretty deep, and it has quite some patina on it. So it
has a lot of black toning, it looks like, I see.
Right. So I'm thinking it was actually lost a long time ago so it was probably a farm field or something before the school. Is what I'm thinking, but I don't know. Some kid could have brought it to school for show and tell. But it's mine now.
Yeah, it looks like a few people put in 177,000 mintage,
That's
which is a low mintage.
yeah.
Okay.
Got to be worth some money. I'm not the best guy when it comes to value, but
Yeah.
I just look at how many were made, how many are probably still even out there to be found, and that's
Okay.
pretty darn low. So you got a pretty penny there. And that shaka plate, that was incredible. It doesn't even look like there's any wear on it. It doesn't look like it's bent or scratched or anything.
Well, it does have some, like, it's bent. I'm not sure. You can't really see it. There is, like, it's indented a tiny bit in the center here.
It looks
But
beautiful.
This was found in the water.
Oh, okay.
You have to understand, like, the water dropped many feet, but this has been hiding underwater
Wow.
since 1950s, since they flooded, and previous to that, it was probably in the ground. So a lot of the stuff, when I find them in the water at the St. Lawrence, they come out newish. This one, they had less patina, and over the years, I guess they're gaining more patina on them. But when you pull it out, it's like sometimes they're shiny, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I never knew brass looked so shiny and nice until you start water hunting for relics, and then you're like, it amazed me on how nice some of this stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Laurie was telling me, and you could go back and watch the video, that when she found the Vexator token, it was on the surface, right? Like it was laying on the surface.
So that's it. So all the water drops, right? And then next thing you know, I'm just going, and then I get a signal, and I look down, and I'm like, what? And it was right there on the surface, and it was literally frozen to the ground. And you can actually hear me go, like it just goes, like makes this little pop noise. And I had to just knock it off. It was stuck. It was just like stuck to the sand there. It was pretty cool. It was frozen. So that day it was probably frozen like about an inch. And then the rest of it, just because overnight it actually froze a little bit. But I mean, we never get to detect in January. So this was an exceptional day. And I can't believe some of my two favorite finds came from that day.
Yeah,
and
the same day.
Yeah, the same day. So
it's cool that even though, they lost it in the water, that the sand didn't cover it. Like it must have laid on the bottom, but exposed. And then when the water left, maybe it pulled a little bit of sand off, but it was just basking in the sun waiting for you.
Yeah. So the water levels up there are always going like up and down because it's a dam that regulates it. So yeah, you can find something very modern at like a foot deep, and then you can find something from the 1800s right on the surface. It does move a lot. There's a lot of movement. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations to you. I mean, I remember the video when that Vexator token came out. I didn't know what it was. And I remember looking it up back then. I mean, this was years ago, Doug. And I was like, holy cow, like what, to just, sometimes, you really do get treasures out there. And the rest of the time, you're just hoping they'll get treasure out there.
Yeah.
So listen, you're having all this success. Your YouTube channel's rocking and rolling. You're finding really good stuff. And then somehow this Red River Gold television show opportunity is looming in the air. Can you tell us about, well, first of all, tell us what the story of Red River Gold is about. And did you know about the story before you were even thinking about being part of it?
No, it's actually the Métis Canadian history is not something that I learned a lot about. So no, I wasn't even aware about Red River Gold. So basically essentially what it is that Hudson Bay Company had Rupert's Land, and that was like central Canada, and they had, I think, maybe even part of the US anyways. So a lot of the Métis people were half Indigenous and half French from the fur traders. They would take on a wife, and then a lot of people were calling them like half-breeds, just nasty. And they weren't really accepted. So a lot of them were pushed out west. And they built this community called Red River, along the Red River. So initially, when Canada became Canada, Sir John A. Macdonald sent somebody out to resurvey the lands. And they already had all their river lot systems set in place and all this sort of stuff. And when they were coming to survey the land, they got really upset and they stepped on the chains. So they had stepped on the chain saying no. They were trying to stand up for their land. And then news came back down to Ottawa and everything else that they were rebellious and they were rebelling. And they had to get like the army, we had to send, the military up there to, get a grasp of, of everything that was going on because they were being very rebellious. So they said, but the Métis people never even took up arms. Yeah. They never even took up arms. They were very peaceful. But they made it sound like they were rebelling and everything else. So the army went down. And there was Louis Riel. He ended up getting hung. All of this. This is a really terrible story. But where the gold comes into this story is basically the paymaster had a bag of gold to go and play the military men, the men that were there. And what happened is they didn't even have the right of way from the Indigenous, and he started being chased by Indigenous. And his horse was very heavy. He had a lot of stuff on his horse, and he was on his way to Fort Garry. So being chased, he started throwing everything off of his horse, all the supplies, everything he had. He had to throw off the gold, and he ended up arriving out at Fort Garry without the gold. Now they had taken him and they threw him into jail in London. So the story is that gold was never found. Some people think that he had cached it probably along a cabin or cached it underneath the Corduroy Road. So there's a lot of theories out there. So this show that we're doing is basically chasing down those theories, chasing down those areas in the story. So basically, we follow some locals and we ask them their theories, and we have historians working on the show and everything else too. So we go and we go to these areas, and I swing the detector, and it was just really, really neat because you have a historian telling you, like, I'm used to doing all the research myself. I'm used to doing all of this stuff as a detectorist. But now I had a team with me. So I had all these historians that already knew the story really well. They had areas mapped out, and I would go and I would search, and they're like, okay, Laurie, go do your thing, and I would go. And I think one of my first favorite finds was there's a story about how the military were given oversized boots. They were given oversized boots that didn't fit well. They were getting blisters. Their feet were killing them. So they would chuck them into the woods, and they would exchange them for a pair of moccasins so they could walk a little better. Well, I found a boot that, the eyelid boot, and it was a double layered, like military always like double layered their boots, I believe, the leather of the boots. That's what one person had told me. So that was really cool, so you hear one story and then you go and find some of the stuff that relates to it. So it was an amazing adventure. It was absolutely like an experience of a lifetime. I mean, I have a whole team. I had historians, and then we have the producers, and we have the locals. I had a guide, and anything we need, the vehicles, the transportation, I had an Argo to go over a bog in the water, and it was wild. We were trying to figure out how to, okay, so there's this other story about when the Wolseley expedition was on their way. They had to go over the Corduroy Road. Now, if people don't know what a Corduroy Road is, it's a bunch of trees that they'll cut and put all in a row to get over swampy areas and stuff like that. They'll layer them this way and then this way.
Like rolling pins almost.
Right. So with the Corduroy Road, they had to build one section that was over a bog. So it was kind of like a floating, you can imagine almost like a floating dock.
Oh, wow.
And when the military went over, went around all of town, they had actually lost a cannon. So the whole thing,
cannon in the bog.
The whole thing tips, down goes the horses and everything, and they lose a cannon. And everybody, they were all laughing about it. Oh yeah, these military, and they lost their cannon because they were coming in with the cannons just to show how big they were and to straighten out these Métis, right? But they end up losing their cannon. So we went out searching for it. And, we get to the bog, and I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh. So the bog is all floating peat moss. So it looks like land. But if you step on it, you're
going down.
You drop, everything comes over. You don't,
yeah,
it's scary stuff. It was really, really scary stuff. So we had an Argo, but the Argo is a big metal thing, right? And I'm hanging off of it as much as I can, trying to detect, in the bog. And that wasn't working out. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way I can get deep enough. So we had come back. We're trying to figure all this out. And I did come up with the idea of, those big drag detectors that they used to use for meteorite men?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I needed one of these.
They had it on like on plastic, and they drug it behind the thing.
Right. So I needed one of these. I said, that's the only thing. I mean, that's the only PI kind of detector I know that can go like 2.5 meters deep, which is how deep this bog was. So I did a lot of research and then finally got one out from Germany, because not a lot of people make these things. And now I had to figure out, okay, so now I have a big drag coil. How are we going to do this? And then they said, well, maybe we need to come back in the winter. I was like, great idea.
Really, so, really, in the winter, in that freezing cold bog?
When the bog is frozen.
Oh, just to go over the frozen ice and look for it.
And that way we can look for it over the frozen ice. But then I'm starting to think, okay, we have a drag coil. Now the skidoos, everything else are made out of metal, right? It's always an issue. Even the cameras are made out of metal. And you don't know how many times I would hit those cameras and I would look at them like, back off, guys. You know? But yeah, so then, I was sitting there going, okay, well, if we drag a sled, a big plastic sled, and then I can sit in the sled and then we can drag this big coil, because it's a really large distance that we needed to cover. So we end up getting some signals and we're like, oh my God, one of them's got to be the cannon. It's like, I'm super excited. But then we're like, okay, how are we going to get this out? And I was like,
it probably weighs a half a ton or more.
But I'm stumped. How do you even get through the ice? Yeah. This is dead of winter. It was like below 40, our temperature below 40, which is like polar vortex cold. Okay. So then all of a sudden, Roger, one of the guys, looks and he goes, hey, I've got an excavator. He's like, well, just bring in the excavator. And I'm like, really? So anyways, we fly back home. We had to wait until the ice was really, really thick. Anyways, we come back, I think it was like a few weeks later. And with the excavator, we had flagged and GPSed all of our stuff. And sure enough, when the excavator hit the ice and broke, like I felt a whole like ice move. I just took like 3 steps. I went to start running, it was just like,
that's scary.
It was so scary, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun. We didn't end up finding the cannon this time. And I think we do need to scan further on both sides of the corduroy. I think maybe we scan the middle and a little bit on both sides. I think we need to go further. But one thing I did find that just blew my mind, and in a bog, like being a relic hunter, things don't preserve well. Like there's not a lot that preserves very well. It gets all rusty, iron gets rusty, wood deteriorates. But one of the finds was actually an axe that dates 1850, from the 1850s, and it had the full wood handle on it.
Really? So, still?
Yeah, and this was definitely an axe head that they would have been working on the corduroy road with. So that was really exciting. At least, I mean, that axe was like, oh my gosh, it was deep. It was really, really deep. And I can't believe we spotted it even with the excavator. And I'm surprised the excavator didn't even break the handle off of it.
I know. I would be. No, thank you very much, Robert. Thank you. I didn't want to interrupt you there, though. Let me go back just a little bit, because this is incredible. But I got to find out, how did you get involved in this show? Like, did you see like that they were looking for people? Did they approach you? How did it even work out that you even got entangled in this?
Well, I'll never, ever, ever regret my YouTube channel. I will never regret my YouTube channel, and I'll never regret working a lot on discoverability. I wanted people in Canada, if you looked up a Canadian metal detecting or a Canadian metal detectorist or treasure hunter, the production company did a search online, and they came across my YouTube channel. And when they came across my YouTube channel, they were kind of like, cool. So they sent me an email. I think it started off in an email. And then we end up having a phone call. But at first I was like, who are these people? And they're like, are you interested in helping us look for lost gold coins? I was like, well, yeah, of course. This sounds interesting. So basically they found me through my YouTube. So, people out there who are doing your YouTube, if you ever want to get discovered, just make sure that you're discoverable. Make sure that you work on your discoverability. Make sure you have your tags in there. because that's what they did. And what they told me is they loved it so much because they were able to see me in action. You know, they were able to watch my videos and already see me as a character and said, okay, yeah, she's the match. You know, we want her. So, yeah, it was all because of my YouTube, and it made me discoverable, and that's where they found me.
That's cool. So you don't even have to necessarily audition because they already feel like they know you from watching some of the shows.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, you know, getting, because you said it. See, I thought when you did it, it was like you lived in that area, but you actually live hundreds of miles from there. So how long, once you decided, all right, I'm going to do it, and you committed, how long were you gone? Because you have a family.
Oh my God, that was so hard.
That's got to be really difficult.
So for the demo, they flew me out for a week, 7 days, which was originally the longest I was away from my whole entire family. I've been a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. I left my job and decided to stay at home with my kids and work on my brand and everything else. So, but yeah, it was 1 week, and that was really hard for the demo. And I was really nervous for the demo because they were all strangers to me, right?
Right. That's
I've got a metal detect in front of all these strangers, and I was like, it wasn't about the cameras; it was about the people I was with.
You want to jive with them.
I don't mind cameras. I don't even see them anymore, you know. And it's like you just don't realize, but it was the people. And then when we actually landed it, and we landed the gig, and we got the funding and everything else, then they flew me back out for 7 weeks.
Wow, 7 weeks.
7 weeks I was away from Eric. I was away from Eric for 5 weeks. This was, I mean, we were FaceTiming every single night. Like I couldn't even eat. I wasn't used to eating supper on my own. I had no appetite. I lost so much weight when I was there. But Eric would literally sit with me on FaceTime, and I would eat my supper with him. And he was just we'd play, you know, different games in the evening and stuff, but we basically stayed online, like on FaceTime with each other, because it was hard. It was excruciating. And then when they said we'd like to get Eric down for a few days so we can have him in an episode or two, I was like,
oh, that is cool. That is cool.
Then he flew out to meet me for about 10 days. And it was an amazing adventure. And I remember them saying, oh, they kind of regret not having him there for the whole season because our dynamic together, I mean, we've been together 20 some years. And so we just get along, and we're very competitive and all of this sort of stuff. So you'll see a lot in season 2. Eric is there for all of season 2. So I'm really excited about that. It made a world of difference. Like when you're the only detectorist there, it's a lot of pressure on you. A lot of pressure. But then when Eric is there and somebody else is there, you realize, okay, it's not just me, you know? So
right.
I'm a very confident digger. I've been doing it for a long time, but there's times where you start questioning, right? And it's like having him with me, it was great. It was, we produced a lot more finds, and it was great.
Yeah, it's tough. And especially because, like, you know, when you're the only detectorist there, you know, I mean, how much experience did you have finding 10-foot deep cannons in a bog? Probably not much experience, but they're leaning on you as the guru.
Oh, but leaning on me. And I was like, okay, there is a detector out there, you know, there is a detector that can get that deep. I knew I had some basics, and so they do definitely rely on me for everything involved with the technology, the machines, everything else. They are relying on us, like on me for that. Because they don't know anything. And season 1, we were all learning on how to work together. I mean, the historians, the producers, and even with me and our lead, Memphis, we were all learning on season 1. They were learning. They didn't even know anything about metal detecting. The very first time, they're like, okay, we're just going to take some B-rolls, you know, kind of do your thing. So, and then I actually started digging in Pierrette's, on her property, and I find, you know, a penny. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a penny on edge. And they were laughing. They're like, what? And I dig it out, it's a penny. And then I'm like, oh, this sounds a little relic. It could be, you know, and I'm like, I don't know. And I pull it out, and it's this beautiful, beautiful ornate button, a floral pattern that the Métis absolutely love these buttons. So it was a pretty early button. And they were all blown away. They're like, oh my gosh, she's finding stuff. Yeah. So all of a sudden they're like, you know, adding in more time for me to do search, you know, because they're like, she's going to find stuff, you know? So everybody was really excited whenever we would find something. It was a huge team, a huge family. And I miss them so much right now. It's
so
like
their initial expectation, you were like almost like a prop to say we have a metal detector. But then when you start delivering, now the focus is on this amazing treasure hunter who's leading the show with these artifacts. I can imagine that they instantly were like, wow, we got to lean on this more. Let's bring in her partner because we need more of this. This is exciting. This is linking those pieces that we're hoping for.
And I had absolutely no idea what my role was in season 1. I knew I was a metal detectorist and the treasure hunter. But it was only at the end before the release, I found out that, hey, I'm a host. I'm one of the hosts. You know, there's 3 hosts and I was one of the hosts. So I wasn't just a guest searcher or just searching. I was literally a host. I'm interviewing.
I got a picture here. Here's this is one of the flyer, I guess you call it a flyer or promo things like that they advertised the show for. And that's Laurie on the left, obviously. Doug, it's not Laurie on the right. It's Laurie on the left.
I never would have known.
You don't have your glasses on. I wasn't sure if you knew.
I have to ask Laurie, you mentioned you're going into season 2. Is the show getting Oak Island type ratings?
I have no idea. I'd love to know what the ratings are. I just don't know how to find those. The channel.
Your producer would tell you.
Yeah. So the channel, I'll have to ask them. But the channel that we're on, it's basically a Canadian network. So it's an Aboriginal Canadian network. So I have no idea what the numbers are, what the ratings are. I should ask them because, you know, I'm trying to be very hopeful. I'm hoping that people out there liked it. There's a Facebook page. They share stuff, but I haven't seen many people communicate with Red River Gold and ask questions. And I was hoping that some of the people who would watch it would have some questions for me, and they would jump on there and say, "Oh, what about this?" or whatever. But yeah, I haven't seen much of that.
Do you get recognized out in public?
I did the other day. I was shocked. I was at the beach.
What?
Yeah, and they recognized me from Red River Gold, and I was just like, wow, this is my first one. So that was really neat. But I was used to that with my YouTube, because I do remember quite a few people would approach me and look at me and like swing like a detector, and I'd be like, and you know, and they're like, I know you.
Yeah. There's another picture of her. This is like almost like a red carpet kind of a thing, and those are her co-hosts. And there she is with the newsboy hat. Like that's her go-to hat. Yeah. Even with a dress, got the news representing.
And my dogs.
Who are the co-hosts there, Laurie?
Okay, so the one in the red, that's Memphis. He's the lead host. He's absolutely amazing. He's the one who's basically like funding the treasure hunt. Memphis is just an incredibly talented musician, fire. He's not a fire chief. He was a fire. Oh, darn it. I forget the title. But,
fire starter?
Fire starter?
Not a fire starter. But, you know, he does
something with fire and putting them out.
I think all firemen, you just need to be a really good person and all this sort of stuff to be like a fireman.
Sure.
And Memphis is exactly that. He's just a great character. And Moose is local from
I'm sorry, I bring Moose back up again.
Yeah, Moose so Moose is the one on that side.
Well, why do they call him Moose?
Okay, so basically he even has a moose tattoo. He was always out in the woods, out there, and he got the nickname Moose. And he's he's quite a tall.
He looks big.
Large guy. So yes, he was our guy.
So does Memphis. He's pretty stout.
Yeah. He's a fireman.
Yeah, gotta be big, Doug.
He's also a singer, so he has his own band as well.
Oh, nice.
Memphis in the Grand. So
here's
country music.
Yeah.
There's another action shot.
I'm sure you can tell with the cowboy hat, right?
Yeah.
That's what they call a hero shot.
That's a good shot. Good shot.
They call it a hero
I'm a big fan of Ian and Sylvia Tyson. Do you remember them?
Just pretend you do, Laurie. You do.
They're Canadian from the Toronto area, and but they go back a few years, way before you were born. Look, look them up on YouTube, Ian and Sylvia Tyson.
Okay.
We'll look them up.
Okay, yeah, yeah, okay.
Hey,
you do that.
Hey, Laurie, I saw a short YouTube video today, and Memphis was wearing a beautiful leather jacket with beads.
Oh, yes.
Is he somehow connected with the natives
He
up
is.
there?
He's indigenous.
He's indigenous. He's Métis. So
okay, he had a beautiful jacket. They
doesn't-
also had a knife that was in a sheath.
That's from his father. His father had given him that jacket and the knife in that jacket. It's a beautiful, and it's actually beaded, and it says Pembroke, his last name on it. Beautiful, beautiful, nice. And that jacket was absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, he, I don't know, I'm going to say it anyway. No one saw it, but unfortunately he fell in the water.
Did he lose it?
Well, he fell in the water, so hopefully it comes.
Oh, I thought the jacket fell. Oh, he was wearing the jacket when he
was wearing the jacket. He fell in the it and it couldn't dry. It was like,
wow, it was so beautiful. I saw it today, and I was impressed with it. And it's a shame you don't have it.
No, he has it. He still has it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
He still has
it. It's just not as beautiful.
But it's not like all the things got a little twisted, and it's not as perfect as it was, I think. But I'm sure he can get it. Probably, I don't know, but yeah, it was a beautiful jacket. I loved his jacket and his knife. It's part of his character. I found it was him, and all of his shirts. Those are all of his shirts, and those are all of his band shirts. And he has like a red one, a blue one, an orange one, a white one, a black one, and he had the easiest wardrobe. Here, I needed an interview and a digging outfit. On every different episodes, I was going crazy trying to figure out what the heck to wear all the time. But him,
so they didn't give you a wardrobe. You had to supply your own wardrobe.
No, well, they actually bought me. They bought me some wardrobe.
Okay.
So I did bring some of my own clothes as well, and they had purchased a pile of clothes for me to wear as well. And those pants are the ones they bought me. The shirt is mine. So that's how it was for season 1. It was kind of like a mix. So, but
now you said you were gone for 7 weeks. What was a typical day like for you? Like, how early did you start? Were these 12-hour days? Like, what was the structure from going from your YouTube channel that you controlled everything to now they're calling the shots and you're kind of along for the ride?
I absolutely loved it. I'm like, when you have somebody doing all of your editing and following and doing all your camera work and your audio and it's all professional, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But what was the question again? What was the question?
What was a typical day like? What time did you start? How long from your hotel to the hunting grounds? Were there lunches? Like, give me a day in the life of Laurie on the set.
All right. So it really depends on where we were, but I did switch and move quite a few times. But for the longest time, for about 3 weeks, I stayed in an Airbnb. So I had my own apartment, this super modern apartment, absolutely gorgeous. They rented me a yellow Jeep. So I had the Jeep Wrangler and I had my yellow Minelab.
Like Steph's Jeep.
Yes, but then this one was a bright yellow, like a friggin' bumblebee,
Okay. A transformer.
So I absolutely loved it. So I had a brand new Jeep. I had a beautiful apartment, and I would probably get up around 7 a.m., just get my stuff together and then head out the door to be on site. It usually was around 8:30, around 8:39. There's no set, like we didn't work Monday to Friday. It wasn't like that. It was sometimes we would work 9 days in a row, sometimes, and then have 1 day off. Like season 2 I only had 4 days off for all of season 2, which was a lot harder. But season 1, we would have a day off here and there. But no, the days were amazing. I mean, I'd start around 8 o'clock. We'd be done. It really depended. It depended on our day. Sometimes we had an early finish around 4 o'clock. Other times we were out there till 7, 8 o'clock. I think even once I was coming back, it was pretty dark and pretty late. But the producers were really good. And I've heard that a lot of other producers on other TV shows, they can be like slave drivers where you have 12-hour days. these guys were pretty good. They didn't slave drive us that way, you know? So, but the coolest thing is, like you were saying, for about lunch, you know, I'm out there in the middle of the woods, you know, we're like a far distance, like we took ATVs to get there, you know? And then all of a sudden somebody comes with their phone and they're like, oh, do you want to look at the menu? You want to choose something from the menu?
Oh.
And I look and I'm like, okay, I'll take, you know, we'll say, you know, grilled chicken salad and, you know, and this sort of stuff. And they're like, okay, great. Then later that day, no, we're in the middle of nowhere and they come out and they got your order, you know? And
Really?
so you're being catered out in the woods. And I remember once I was in my waders because I was in a creek. It was like probably 30 some, which is probably 107, I'm going to guess. And over 100 degrees.
100 degrees? Oh, wow.
So it was really, really, really hot that day. And I had thermal waders on. And I just remember getting out of the water and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. And, you know, it was like within a minute, I have somebody behind me that's opening a bottle of water, a cold water. Here you go. And I'm like,
oh, people are waiting on you.
And you know, it's incredible. They took such good care of us. You know, everything, all my expenses were paid. They bought some clothes and all this sort of stuff, but they just treated me really, really well. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. I just love the crew I was working with. Everybody was amazing. And like I said, they spoiled me. I really felt like I was spoiled. And you know, it was like, I'd ask, you know, to help, you know, I'm just like, hey, can I help carry some of your gear? They're like, no, you're the talent. And I'm like,
how many people like were part of the crew in total when you go out to film? Like, they're like 5 people, 10 people.
Oh, wow. So we had, sometimes we had 3 producers. We had, you know, the A camera, B camera. So we often had 2 cameramen, sometimes 3. Then we had, so we had Francis, he's from Toronto, who was a camera guy. We had Sam, who's a producer and camera. He's from Winnipeg. And then, like I said, the 3 producers, we had Randy, the sound guy. Randy is awesome. I absolutely love sound guys. Sound audio guys, they're always cool. I have to say, they're always cool. So Randy was our sound guy. It was kind of weird, right? So you get there and then they're like, okay, you know, we got to get you mic'd. So they get you all mic'd up and all that sort of stuff. And so you got to be super careful because you never know, like the producers are always listening. And sometimes you have a hot mic that's running all the time. So, you know, I know Franny looks at me and he's like, now, Laurie, you be careful what you say because they could be listening. Yeah. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know, so you have like a hot mic on you. So yeah, you got to be careful sometimes, but I usually don't talk bad about anybody. So I was pretty safe. But
you have like a makeup person where like, if you're detecting, you get like mud on your face or like, let me touch you up, Laurie, let me touch you up.
No, we're not there yet.
Okay.
You know, maybe if it hits National Geographic, maybe I will. But I did have that for my master interviews. So I had my hair and makeup done by a professional. But no, it was me. I did all my own makeup every day. And I'm not somebody who wore makeup a lot. I wear very little. So it was, yeah, that was a little bit of a challenge for me because I'm not used to putting makeup on every day and going out to work like that. So
yeah, especially like, you know, like I'm not a vain person, but if I was going to be on a TV show and I know it's going to be 100+ degrees out and I'm going to be sweating, like, I don't want to look like a slob. I want to try to look whatever I got. I want to try to make it look as best. You know what I mean? Like you had to be thinking a little bit like that.
I tried so much, but I was always a mess. Like
yeah, you're the digger. Yeah.
And I like my hair is like half in my braid, half out of my braid. My hair is like some days puffy. And I'm like, oh my God, my hair. And the producer looks at me and he's like, no, Laurie, it's perfect. It's perfect. You're working hard. It shows. You're the digger, you know, you're the treasure hunter. But yeah, like my nails, I did my nails, you know, and that's something a lot of people say. And I'm like, there's no way is anybody going to see my dirty fingernails on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you're Relic Dirty Hands. You got to represent. You're
dirty hands. Hands are okay. Hey, I don't mind dirty hands, but when
it's just not the nails, not the nails. Okay.
It's not the nails. So, and that was a bit of a challenge, was keeping my nail polish good for that 7 weeks of filming.
Now, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, whether you did or did not find the gold. I'm guessing not in season 1 because there's a season 2. And if you found it, it'd be over.
That's it.
But were there any things that you found that kind of surprised the show creators and they're like, oh, we got to put this in, like something that they could tie to that time period. I know the boots you found and the button.
Boots,
Were there any other things like that?
Yeah, the boots. And now I'm just, I have my book upstairs. Shoot, I forgot my book. I have like a whole book of all the stuff that I had found, just to try to like jog my memory. I know the axe head was one of my favorites. You know, the leather boot was really cool. You know, I was finding a lot of this and that relics, like a button. I found a flat button as well. Okay, so the flat button. So I did find, Eric was on that episode as well. We were at one place at the Birch River Station, and we end up finding a flat button, which predates the trail. Now the historian looks at me and she got super excited, and she's like, "I've always had a theory that this was a winter route." So by us actually finding stuff that the tradesmen would have used back in the 1700s before the Dawson Trail was even built, was actually showing proof that they were actually traveling through there. So there was that. There was also when they weren't really sure if that Birch River Station was actually there. And when Eric and I went to go scope it out, and I was finding the nails, and the square nails were dating the 1870s era. A lot of stuff, we were starting to find stuff. And then all of a sudden we have a picture and it shows 3 buildings. And all of a sudden we see one depression on our right, a nice square depression, another depression that was kind of hidden in the woods. And so we could actually see where all 3 buildings stood. So we were super excited. We had to grab Pierrette. I got to show you this. We got to show you this, you know. So we did help them in a few situations to say, yes, it was here, you know, like kind of like a confirmation, because a lot of their stuff is what they read in books and everything else. Right. And they're seriously looking for a lot of these places because nothing was really documented. This one of these offices was never actually documented where it is, and we'll see on season 3. Like okay. I'm already working on the next season. I want the next season, but if
I gotta say,
do you need any guest detectorists?
I don't have a passport, Doug. I can't.
Well, you know what? We did actually spend time on Flag Island in is it Minnesota? It's Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Flag Island, Minnesota. So the Dawson Trail all begins actually at the border of the US, Canada, and Manitoba, Ontario, kind of. So
I have a picture here. It doesn't show the trail, but let's give an idea as you're discussing. These are the old settlements of the Red River, Fort Garry, and I think the camp was somewhere in this where you got that area, I believe.
Yeah. So if you go like so as south as I could go in Winnipeg, and really close to the Ontario-Winnipeg border. And like I said, we stayed, the only way we can access it was from the US. So we had to go down to Minnesota, and that was the craziest border I have ever crossed, okay? This is in the middle of nowhere. It's a telephone booth, okay? Yes. I walk in and you have like this little iPad and I write my information, my driver's license, you know, all this sort of stuff. And then they're like, approved. And I go in, and then on my way out, I have to call them, and I'm like, okay, I'm leaving the States now, and I'm going back to Canada. And they're like, okay, and here's your reference number. So I never got, there's nobody at this border, no one on the US side, no one on the Canadian side.
Wow.
In the middle of the woods. So that's how, and we stayed in Minnesota on the Flag Island, and we had Joe Dirtyhands as our tour guide. If anybody is out Lake of the Woods area, you guys got to hook up with Joe Dirtyhands. He knows all the stuff. He has a great tour boat.
I don't even know what you're saying. What are you saying, Joe? Joe?
Oh, sorry. I'm saying it in French. That's why. Joe Lauren.
Joe Laurie.
So it's like my name, but instead of an E, it's an N.
Oh, Joe Lauren.
Lauren, yeah.
Okay, Joe Lauren. I got it. I wanted to give him a proper shout out, Doug.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's Joe Lauren. I call him Lorraine just because it's a French name again. Okay. Right? So, but that's Joe Lauren, and he does tours on Lake of the Woods. He was absolutely amazing. We really enjoyed that, our stay out in the US. But the only way we could was take Joe's boat, and Joe would actually drive us down to the location, back onto the Canadian side. And basically this whole section that we were doing was half So it's actually half on the US side and half on the Canadian side.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can see the whole like border, and sometimes I would cross it going, oh my God, are they going to come with drones? Are they going to come with drones? But allowed in the US.
Sounds like we need to build a wall there.
Yeah, but I was allowed in the US, but this whole section used to belong to Canada. It used to be a part of Canada. And then when they redrew out the borders, I think in 1812 is when those lines changed. And this is when some of the Indigenous community moved back or moved over. Like it's seriously like half of the street was on the US side, the other half. It's really interesting. Anyway, that whole area, really interesting on how
the things that you found that could be tied to the Red River settlement. Did you are these donated now, like in a museum? Like, what did you do with these items? I'd have to think they were really important to the local people.
Oh, this is it. So, again, I'm the detectorist there. So in season 1, I had a huge responsibility that I didn't even know I was going to have. No one really knew that I was going to find stuff. So when I started finding stuff, I started, I would put them in a baggie and I would write the depth that I found it at, what location, all of this information on it. And thankfully so. But no one basically knew. And I just thought, this is historical stuff. Yeah. This is not something that I can take home with me. I didn't feel comfortable with that. And then there's a museum called the Dawson Trail Museum. And I asked them, I said, for the people who have private property that we're on, is it okay if I give them the finds that I find? And the producers were like, of course. And I said, and all this stuff that we find on Crown land, on public land, it should be donated to the Dawson Trail Museum. So all of my finds from the show are going to the Dawson Trail Museum for all the locals and everything.
Oh, good.
Within the history.
And did you pin your location for each find?
I did. I had to document every single one of them with a GPS, the depth of the find. I had to photograph the find. And there's a whole report. Now, Canada is very, very strict when it comes to hunting for history.
Artifacts. Yeah.
Very, very strict on artifacts. So I actually had a metal detecting permit to metal detect from the province themselves. And so everything needs to be documented in a full report, and the historian we're working on. So it's almost like an archaeological report that's submitted to the province at the end of each show.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there's a lot of, there's
a lot of homework.
Learning experience. I will tell you that.
Sure.
Yeah, learning experience on what we needed to do to get those permits.
So let me jump a little bit, Laurie. Now, after you do season 1, after you film it, a few months pass or whatever, and now the show's starting to come out. I don't know if it came out all at once or episodal. When you're watching them, I mean, it's got to be really exciting. But looking at them through the eyes of a YouTuber, were you thinking like, oh, I would have edited different. I wish they put that in. I wish they didn't put that in. Like, what did you find yourself mentally part of the process, or you just, whatever they did, you were cool with?
So what it was actually I could start seeing things while we were filming. They would say, okay, I'm going to get a wide. I'm going to get a short. I'm going to get the most that I saw, I was learning so much. While we were filming as a YouTuber, I was watching the cameramen, where they're standing, how they're doing their lighting, what they're using for audio, all of this sort of stuff. Now, when I actually saw the show, I just had this huge smile. I was like, my God, they did an incredible job. Like, incredible. They're the professionals. There's absolutely nothing that I could think of that I could have done to improve it, because they're just very, very talented people. And the production was very well done, very, very well done. They had the drones, they had all the different cameras. Like, I think it was really cool. I learned a lot. And I kind of wish I was still doing my YouTube because of how much I learned, but it got way too busy.
Well, that's exciting. Listen, I want to open it up to anybody in the chat. If anybody has any questions for Laurie about the show, her YouTube channel, put them in, and I'm going to try to keep an eye out because we've been going for a little while now. So put your questions in. I thought I saw some earlier, but I don't remember now. I have a short memory. So, please put them back in again.
I think a friend of mine, I think I just saw a message come in saying, oh my gosh, I'm watching Hoarder. And Matt Thompson just sent me that comment. I think it was Matt. I just saw it pop up.
There was questions, and I just can't remember because I don't want to interrupt you as you're talking. But I can't remember them all. So I'll open it up for any questions. Oh, here's one from Chris Heimsoff. I did see this one. He wanted to know: were you allowed to use LiDAR, or is LiDAR available for that remote of an area?
We did in season 2. So in season 2, we brought in LiDAR, yeah.
And tell people what LiDAR is, in case you're not familiar with it.
Oh, wow. This is really cool.
Well, the abridged version.
Okay. So I know the LiDAR is basically they scan and they can scan through thermo, and he used thermal imaging as well. And what it does is they scan the ground, and they can remove all the trees and all that sort of stuff. So you can actually see the lay of the land. So you can see where old roads were or old buildings and all that sort of stuff. The thermo imagery as well is going to show you if there's a foundation, because the sun heats rock and foundations and different things differently than, soil and everything else. So they had this huge drone, and he was on the back of his truck, and this guy comes up, and they did the whole scan with the LiDAR. And it was really cool to experience that. And then to actually see the imagery and go through the imagery as well. But that's for season 2. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not. Oops.
I got another one. Let me see. I'm going to look for questions. So here's one from Dave Cruikshank, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Did Minelab provide any equipment? Or I'll even say, did you try to include Minelab as maybe a sponsor of the show, or was it maybe season 1 just not ready for that step?
Well, with Minelab, I did get their approval to use and to show their logo and to use their equipment, because you do need approval from them. But no, they ad placements and how do they call them again? Placements anyway, product placements wasn't really something that they did on the show. So, but I did get.
Well, if Minelab was a sponsor and donated something, then maybe that product's allowed. Maybe you can work some magic in between seasons.
Minelab takes really good care of me and my detectors and all that sort of stuff. So if I needed something, Debbie just kept on asking me, "Are you sure there's nothing you need?" I'm like, "No, I got my Manticore. That's all I need."
Yeah, you're good.
So they did send us some extra gloves and different things like that. So they've been very, very supportive of all of it. And if I did need something, they would have been right there for me.
Cool. Here's a question: 550 Adventure. Did they provide restrooms on the set? Are you like, Laurie, there's a tree over there, we'll close our eyes? How'd that work?
That's so cute. You know what? Season 1, yes. Season 1, they would literally get a porta potty out on set in the middle of the woods. We had a porta potty. It got filled up with a bunch of Asian beetles, or those, they look like ladybugs, but they're not.
Oh, yeah.
So they would get covered. I would go in there, and I'm like, I did not even want to use them because it was infested with those ladybugs in the fall. But yeah, they had porta potties, and sometimes we're filming on private property, and they would have an outhouse, or we can use the toiletries there. So season 1 was a lot better. Yeah, we had season 2, not so much.
The stuff you don't see on the episodes of TV, Laurie trying to find the lavatory.
Somehow the cutting
this is true. I was like, how hard it is to hide from everyone.
Here's one. Austin Bradley will know if he came across any wildlife. I'd have to think Canada. There's moose, there's bear, any sort of wildlife bump-ins.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I had one really huge scare. And I was walking, and I had Eric had bear spray on him. Joe Lauren was with us, and all this sort of stuff. And I'm just looking, and I'm seeing the woods, and I'm like, I always like detecting in the woods, So I'm starting to walk up to the woods, and then all of a sudden, something large jumps up, and he's probably 5 feet away from me. I just scream. I'm like, ah! And I let this death scream out, and at the very end of my scream, I'm like, a deer.
A deer.
A deer's not scary.
No, but when it jumps out in front of you, I thought it was
it jumps out. Okay.
I thought it was a cougar or something. It happened all so fast, and I guess it was lying down, and I scared it, and it just jumped out. But then I remember Joe looking at me and going, "Hey, Laurie, you want another can of bear spray to hold on? And I'm like,
yes. You're in trouble if you don't know the difference between a cougar and a deer.
Well, it was like brown in color. But that's like I'm saying, I screamed, and by the time I finished my scream, I could see what it was, and it was like Eric had already dropped all of his stuff. He said he's never heard me scream like that. And he got a chance to do about 2 steps, and then he hears deer and he's like, oh.
Was he running to you or away from you?
To me. He was running to me.
That can be scary, Doug. And
Doug,
I always like when a detectorist, from the YouTube world gets out to something bigger, like Laurie did. I always like to look and see if IMDb has a listing for it. I did it with Ken and Tony and all that. And Laurie does have an IMDb page. She didn't even know when I told her before the show. And it lists her as an actress, not even like treasure.
Wow.
She's listed as an actress.
Yeah.
But there's no picture, Laurie. So go put up a good picture yourself.
Okay. I'm going to have to go and take a look at that. I'm going to have to get my daughter to grab a good headshot or something of me. And I'll look into that. But yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
That is always exciting.
But that's the thing. Even on the show, like I don't call myself an actress because I have actually 0 experience. Even on YouTube was me. It was always me. And even on the show, it's 100% me. I do what I do and I say what I say. I don't have a script. I don't have lines. What we see on the show is reality. So, I'm a reality personality. I wouldn't call myself an actress, but
maybe the acting, I always wonder, like, if the acting, like when you're filming, like you are, long days, like, are there moments where, let's say you're detecting and you find something, but the cameramen weren't filming you. So like, look, Laurie, we got to find it again. Yes. And at that moment, you are an actress because you have to, have the same excitement. Well, also, that had to have happened.
Okay, so on I forget what episode it was, around 7 or 8 or ish. Okay, so what happened is I did have a camera guy. I had Franny following me, and I'm going through the woods and all this sort of stuff, and I get this signal, and I really think Franny's there, and I dig it out, and all of a sudden I see a silver ring, and I'm like, ring, and I look up, and Franny's not there. The camera guy is not there. No one is there. And then all of a sudden I hear them, just wait, we're just doing an interview. Just wait, we'll be right there. So I literally was sitting in poison ivy.
Oh, that's the worst.
For about 15 minutes with this with this ring still in the clump. Like I didn't clean it or anything. I think it's a ring. And I have to sit there for 15 minutes on my knees, waiting.
Can't touch it. Don't touch it.
Right. And then they come.
That sounds familiar.
All right, but that's what you got to do.
Boom, I got to kick back into where I was, right? Like, whoa,
And then, are they like, Laurie, can you yell ring again? And we'll like run over, like, because that's the acting part. No, they didn't want you to do that?
No, because I'm hot mic'd. So they have everything I say.
Oh, they had that. Okay.
So all they do is like use another clip so that you don't see me talking, but you hear
from the back.
Because they got me from the back or whatever. So this is why they're taking all these different angles, so they were still able to use my original, it's a ring.
That's cool.
It was really, really cool. But then I did have to sit there and that sort of stuff. So there are instances where I did find something and then they were like, oh, we should have got that, because sometimes I would stay late, right? Everybody else would leave and I'm like, okay, I want to stay and I just want to detect a little more. And when that would happen, we would leave it there. And the next day or whatever, we would go back and I would refind it again and pull it back out. So I guess there's
a little bit of actress, a little bit.
I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, look, you have to do that. I'm 100% sure that the finds are real. Absolutely. But if they didn't capture maybe the right face or whatever, you got to kind of, it's life. That's what you got to do.
Every single find that we found on there is real.
I believe it. I 100% believe it. And now, no one saw season 2 yet. Are you getting closer to the gold? Does the story take tangents, like you said about the canon, and you start to look for other things as you're immersed into the story in real time?
Mm-hmm. So I just find that season 2, we didn't really get into there, but season 2, I knew the story now. You know, the first year I learned the story, you know, and season 2, it was a lot different. Like I got to go out for 2 weeks and kind of take a look at the sites that they wanted me to go to. And I would give them a rating on all these sites, like if I think it has potential or not, and what I think. So I got a lot more involved when it came to the sites and everything for season 2. So that did change. And like I said, we got a little more involved in the research of stuff. And because when you know the history, then you can really get involved. But when you're first learning and you're just learning the basics, that's pretty hard. It's hard to get involved. You have no idea where to start, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, as we get more and more involved, the more we're finding. We'll just put it that way. More we're finding.
I'd have to think that, you know, early episodes of season 1, you know, you're just Laurie the detectorist. But as season 2 and 3, like now you're part of the show. You're, you know, like your role starts to become higher because they see your competence level.
Well, actually, right from the beginning, like I said, wasn't too sure, and I thought I was just going to be like the metal detectorist, kind of like what they had on Curse of Oak Island, but that wasn't the case. I'm a host, and I'm there interviewing everyone. I'm on every single episode. I'm, you know, including like I said, visiting the locals, talking to the historians. I'm doing all that sort of stuff and the detecting. So that was really neat.
Yeah. And
I have a question.
Go ahead, Lynn. Go ahead. Let me
yeah.
move you over here, Lynn.
How accurate is the information that the gold was never found originally?
So that information is very accurate, but accurate to what point? I mean, anybody could have found that gold at one point, find the gold and just melted it down or never told anybody. But nowhere in anywhere that even the locals or anybody knows. No one's ever heard of anybody finding the gold. So yeah, I mean, it could have been. And like, we've talked about that too. And I'm like, I really hope that it wasn't found and melted or something like that.
But I mean, there was some guy on horseback, right, who had to throw the gold off the horse as he was riding. Well, it would have landed on top of the ground.
Well, it was in a leather pouch.
Okay.
In a leather satchel. And you got to think the people that are following them were pretty far back on their horses, you know, and this sort of stuff. I mean, a brown satchel, a brown leather bag can camouflage easily in the woods. Especially in the bog. You have a bog where it could have sunk. Other people say that he buried it just under the Corduroy Road because it was all logs. It was like all these logs. So you could have just tucked it under one of the logs. And that's why there's a lot of different theories and so on. But in Manitoba, no one has ever claimed to have found the gold. So it could have been, but I'm still very, very hopeful that it wasn't.
Right.
Was it gold coins or gold bullion or what?
Gold coins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a picture I have, Doug. I'll bring it up real fast. You know, just to summarize again, and I'm reading. I don't know if it's off the top of my head, but you know, during this Canadian movement, where basically the Canadian new government tried to force these Indigenous people off their land.
Yeah.
This guy in the middle here, whose name was Louis Riel. Am I pronouncing that right, Laurie?
Beautifully, yes.
He kind of led the resistance. And even though the Métis were, you know, like she said, they didn't pick up arms. The government, you know how they do, Doug. They pushed these people out. They painted them like they were troublemakers and they were violent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this guy got hung. They hung this guy as the leader of that group.
He made a lot of changes. He had managed to, made a lot of wonderful changes, and he did a lot of good. And he ended up getting hung at the end of all. So
Canadians Indigenous were treated as poorly as the American.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same story.
Yeah.
And we paint them as the bad guy when really they were minding their own business. They just wanted to be left alone. You know?
Well, this is it. And it was really incredible because I got to hear both sides. So I got to hear the rebellion, and then I got to hear it from them that they were the resistance. There's a big difference between those two words, you know?
Yeah.
And this really goes to show you that history is often one-sided. You're hearing one side. This side over here is saying that they were rebellious. This side here is saying that they were just simply resisting. I mean, they never pulled arms. They never took arms. They never, but yet, they came down with cannons and everything to try to scare them. So, but they were very, very peaceful. Very, very.
It's just like Americans, Doug, where, you know, we're considered patriots, our founding fathers. But if we lost that war, we're just simply traitors.
Yeah.
It all depends on the perspective.
It all depends on your perspective. What side of the fence are you standing on?
Exactly.
And these gold coins were given to them from the British, right, who were supporting it. That's where they originally stemmed from.
Yes, a lot of I mean, we were under the British rule, right? So a lot of our military was British, and the coins were from London. The gold.
Well, very exciting. Well, I had a question, and again, guys, you got a few more minutes. If you have any questions for Laurie, I'll try to take a peek again.
What was the years that this encompassed?
1870. So from 1869 to 1871, 70, around there, the building of the Dawson Trail. So from the time they surveyed it and they built it, and that's during the time period that the coins were lost as well.
And there's still evidence of that road, that corduroy road? That had to be cool.
So it's really neat. I mean, there's some sections of this road that, like today, has been developed and is paved over and under a highway. But there's a huge amount of this trail still exposed and still around. And they're ATV, like there's an ATV club that uses some of them. Now there's one section of the trail that was completely kind of blocked. And Roger and his buddy went out there and they clear cutted the trail just so we can get in there with our ATVs and all that sort of stuff. But it wasn't even used for many, many years. And they had to clear quite a large section of the road so we could get to the bog. We didn't even think we were going to be able to get to the bog, but thankfully for Roger and his buddy, they cleared out the old road for us.
Cool.
Some parts of the road are still used today as like a back roads, and some people still live out there and stuff like that. So they're all still like, you can feel it. And when you're driving on it, it's like a dirt road, but then you're like, it's like you're bouncing. And I'm like, the roads are bad. The roads are pretty bad. So you can actually literally feel the corduroy underneath them.
How long entirely was the trail?
Oh, wow.
Hundreds of miles?
You know, it's really hard for me to tell you.
It's kind of hard to look at that map and know.
Let's see. In a vehicle, if I was to drive in a vehicle, I think it would be about a 3-hour drive today in a car of the whole section of the trail. I think from Fort Garry to Lake of the Woods. We're talking maybe if you could drive, because a lot of sections you can. But let's say if you could, I would say it would take about a 4.
Yeah, it's a big chunk of land to look for a little satchel, Doug.
We could jump in Charlie's Kubota and get up there, right?
Right. So, you know, we had ATVs, we had the amphibio, the water. We took wooden carts and a horse and cart and
whatever you could use to transverse the
ski-doos. We had the ski-doos, and I used to remember what we worked on because of what vehicles. I mean, we even had these old antique vehicles we got to play around with, I think it was a 1904 car. I'm not good with car names.
It's like a crank start, Doug.
Yeah, it was fun to crank it.
That's called Model A.
Yeah. You had one, didn't you, Doug? You had the first one.
No, Charlie had the first one.
Charlie. So, Laurie, if people join the show tonight late, how can people in the U.S. check out the episodes of the show?
Okay. So the only way that I know that you can watch from the U.S. is if you have a VPN blocker, because the show is only available in Canada. But if you do have a VPN blocker, you can go to APTN. They have a streaming service called Lumi. Now, right on their website, they have a 14 or a 1 week trial. So you can actually subscribe for a week. All they need is your email. They don't ask you for even a credit card, nothing. All you need is your email, and you have a free trial, and you can watch all 13 episodes of Red River Gold from their streaming service, Lumi.
Cool.
Lumi.
I do have a link in the description of this live show to their website, Red River Gold. You can check it out and follow the instructions. And who knows, maybe the show will really blow up. They'll sell it to another network, and that's the hope.
That would be cool. I would do this all the time, every day. Like I wouldn't even take a break from filming because it's just that much fun. Just
wow.
And I was going to ask if there's a season 2. She kind of let the cat out of the bag that it's already been filmed. She's already looking forward to season 3, Doug. So
yep.
Season 1 just finished airing. Yeah, it was.
Here's a link. Hot Mess Fishing put it up. It's in the live chat. You guys can click on that after the show because you're watching. We're almost done. And I will keep the live chat in the replay. So again, thank you, Alicia. And it is in the description. If you guys can check it out. Who knows? This time in a few months, it might be on our Discovery Channel, History Channel, things like that.
That would be pretty darn cool.
So, I'll go around. Charlie, Lynn, Doug, if you guys have any last questions for Laurie, I've kept her really long, which is, I warned her. I warned
you. I told you how much I could talk.
This is what happened. That's why I like her. She's my people, Doug.
Are you on an hour time difference?
No, we're the same time zone.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not too far. I'm about 3 hours away from like New York.
Okay.
Yeah, before the show, I thought she lived in the Manitoba area. So I was like, wow, does she even have internet connectivity? Because to me, that's so remote. It's so remote.
No, I'm in Quebec.
You're in Quebec. Oh,
yeah, much more east.
Yes.
Wow.
Way out here east.
Speak some French Canadian for us.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
It's pretty good, Doug. I mean, she was
doing.
Yeah.
Oui, ça va bien.
Yeah, I can't speak. Doug's going to pretend like he can speak French. He cannot, Laurie.
Yeah. Steph knows I can speak French, but I won't do it here.
Yeah, he knows four words.
That's just like, hi, Steph. Hi, Steph.
Steph's been here all night. All night.
Yeah. Look what she said.
What did she say? I didn't say it.
Look and see what she said.
I don't know.
Don't do the joke, Doug. She's seen it.
What joke are you talking about?
How I speak French.
Oh, okay.
We'll do it on a less public forum.
There we go. And Laurie, let me ask you. I mean, I saw you've taken a hiatus from the YouTube channel. Obviously, you're filming a television show. I'm assuming that eventually you'll come back to that when you get some downtime again. Do you miss it? Do you miss the creative control, that part of the process?
I do, but I also did it for so long that it feels kind of really nice to have a break.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was a lot of stress, a lot of work, a lot of, and it's really nice to have the break. And we'll go back to it. We're looking at shorts and maybe doing other stuff. But I mean, even my GoPros, it's been about 3 years. Even my GoPro, everything's outdated. After you work with professionals and you hear their audio and you get very, very critical on yourself. And I do have to say, I got very, very critical on myself. And it seemed like, So I don't know. I'm going through a transition right now. I miss it. I love it. I miss my people. I miss my comments. I really do miss everyone. And I think that's the biggest part. And I may or may not. I tell everybody I'm semi-retired. So I'm not saying I'm retired, but I'm semi-retired. We'll see. But I do miss.
Hey, listen, and you get her live tonight right here for a little taste of old school YouTube Laurie.
I do.
So thank you. Oh, and Buckle Boy made it. Buckle Boy, I'm glad you got here late. Charlie, Lynn, Doug, any last minute things for Laurie before I cut her loose? She hasn't even had dinner yet.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
I think that was really, really fun and interesting, and I hope that the outcome is everything that you want it to be. But I hope you get a fair number of shows in before the outcome so that you experience everything that you want to.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Charlie, anything for Laurie?
Yeah, I never knew there was lost gold up there in Canada, whatever that river gold. But we had our Gettysburg gold here, supposedly found. Lost Confederate gold in Gettysburg, supposedly found. I'm not sure. And the other intriguing thing is I have friends that live in New Orleans that are Canadian. Ancestry, the French Canadian. And I always wondered how that happened. How did they go from Canada to New Orleans? Something went on back in the historical days that they chased out or whatever. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe you can quickly tell me that story.
Well, I do know that the loyalists went to Canada when they didn't want to separate, or they didn't want to longer be with the queen or the king or something. That's what I understand. Oh, wow.
I was just curious if you knew.
But I think in at one point before Canada was even Canada, I believe that a lot of people split, and the loyalists came to Canada because they wanted to continue to serve the king, the queen at the time, and the others stayed in the U.S. That wanted independence, I believe.
Okay. Yes, they are French Canadians, but they live in Louisiana.
Right.
And their ancestors came from Canada, and they still speak French.
Well,
which is interesting to me.
I do believe Nouvelle France, and before Canada was Canada, there's a lot of in the U.S. We were all one. There wasn't any borders back then, and a lot of people settled in Quebec. And I mean, I'm sure you see a lot of French people in Maine as well.
Right.
I just believe back before there was borders, that there was no language barriers or borders back then, and I think a lot of the French, from Nouvelle France and from France.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that Hudson Bay Company, that whole region before they divided up, we were all the same countrymen in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Although for my purposes, Laurie, you're my first international guest. Makes it sound more exotic, Doug. A little more exotic.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right, we're going to wind it down. Laurie, I can't thank you enough. Congratulations on season 2. Fingers crossed for season 3. I'm sure you are probably I'm going to say you're the soul of the show. I'm sure the professionals do a great job, but I think you're the soul that's going to drive that show home. And make sure you guys check it out. Like I said, there's a link in the description. You can go watch it. 13 episodes so far, 13 more coming in season 2. What an exciting opportunity to go from, your grandpa's farm to your YouTube channel to now, all over at least Canada, working your way out to the rest of the world. Congratulations to you, Laurie.
Thank you so much.
And to Eric for your support. Like you said, you can't do it without the support.
No, absolutely. I couldn't do it without my other half.
Where is he there?
I will call him my better half. I'll give him that.
Can he make a quick cameo? Is he there?
Eric?
Does he want to pop in for a cameo?
Eric?
Is he dressed? Is he shy?
Oh, I'm sure he is dressed.
Oh, we were hoping he wasn't dressed.
I think he's actually supposed to be listening to the show, but he does have the door closed and everything else, unless there's a delay. And he's answering me. He never hears me, and I used to complain about that all the time. It's I have to say that he's muted out.
There's probably a 20-second delay, so he might not have heard you till just now. I'll give him a second.
You can tell she's Canadian.
Here he comes.
And out.
Oh, look at that nice Victorian chair she's sitting in, Lynn.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a nice high back Victorian.
Okay. Yeah. How many times did I say A? Did I say A a lot?
I only counted 3.
You said yeah.
You said yeah. I was.
That's Canadian.
I only counted 3. I was expecting a dozen or more, but I find it to be very charming.
Oh yeah.
Here's my Eric. Here's Eric.
Oh, here he comes. We're gonna get a cameo in. Eric, how are you, sir?
Hey guys.
Thank you for sharing.
Hey, Eric, I like your hairdo.
Not bad, eh?
Eric, thank you. That was 4. You just said it again. Hey.
Thank you. I'm having a bad hair day too today.
Well, I have one every day.
Thank you for sharing your better half with us for tonight.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to share.
No, thank you very much. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you, everybody. Whoa.
Hello.
I'll wait till some fixes.
There we go. I dropped you. We did a whole flip here.
Did you see a deer or a cougar?
Another deer. Did a deer break in?
That wouldn't surprise me though.
But Laurie, again, thank you very much. Again, Relic Dirtyhands. Check her out on Red River Gold. Awesome ambassador to the hobby. Thank you very much for joining us, and success for season 3.
Thank you so much. It's nice seeing you. Nice meeting all of you.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh, good people, Charlie. Good people. In all the years that, we had YouTube channels, for 8-9 years, I've just never really interacted with her before. I knew of her. I never bumped into her. Tonight was the first time I ever really talked to her. And what good people, Charlie.
Yeah.
What good people she is.
I used to go to Canada every year for fishing. And the people they were always nice up in Canada.
Were they really?
Anyway.
No, listen, next week we have another Canadian on, our second one. We have on Chris Turner, who founded the Worldwide Ring Finders group, which is, a big time thing.
Yeah.
And man, I found out some incredible facts about Chris, behind the detecting scene. So he's going to be another really fun guest. I see Pink Power Alley in the.
She's from Canada, right?
Another Canadian that we love. So it's been. I know Barb. It's not that Barb said, where have you been? I've seen her on a number of shows. I knew who she was, her and Eric. I'm just saying I've never had the opportunity where we were at the same event.
Interact.
Just never got to interact until today. So it was my treat to be able to spend a couple hours with her. And Lynn told me she's never met a Canadian before. It was her first time.
What?
Yeah, never.
I don't remember saying that.
Oh, I'm trying to make her seem more exotic.
Well, it was a thrill.
No, she was good.
Didn't you go to Niagara Falls on your honeymoon?
No, I've been there, but not on my honeymoon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, she's never been there. All right. Well, listen, we're going to get ready to roll out of here. I'll give everyone the floor. Any announcements that you guys want to make, Doug, Lynn, Charlie, and then we're going to roll out of here. I'll start with you first, Doug.
I'll tune in on the road. I'm hitting the road, heading for Texas on Sunday.
Heading for Texas, the Lone Star State.
Yep. We want to see what hell is like, so we'll get a real good idea how hot things can get. Yeah,
it's going to be
hot. Not hot enough here. We want to go where it's hotter.
Well, maybe on your own trail as you go down to Texas, Doug, maybe some people can meet you along the way. I mean, we've made friends all over the country over the years.
Yep. And then we're heading up to Colorado after that.
Okay. Nice little road trip for Dougie. Yeah, Dougie won't be joining us for a couple weeks.
I'm taking my laptop with me. So
from the road.
Yeah. I'm going to be like Charles Corral, if anyone.
Okay, from the road. Well, then we will see Dougie then on next week. So that's good. Doug, I'll see you before then in person, but have a safe trip, and I hope you guys have an awesome time.
Thank you.
Charlie, any last-minute words from you, my friend?
It was neat to hear what she had to say tonight, Laurie. It's very cool stuff. And I did notice during the show there was lightning in the background in my windows here.
Oh, I didn't notice. We were small windows. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, a lot of flashes going on. I saw in the chat some people say about a storm being here, and it was lightning and thundering a little bit. I don't think you heard the thundering. But my dog was laying next to me, and he took off as soon as he saw the lightning. And that's why the camera shook a little bit.
We thought that was you passing gas, Charlie.
Yeah, I thought you were having
I did that earlier tonight before the show.
I thought you had Clams Casino for dinner.
So, but hey, it was a cool.
Any pearls?
I'm glad I made it because I called you up today. I didn't think I was going to make it because I was out with friends. But I made it just in time for the show.
Good. I'm glad you were here. Yeah, Rich couldn't make it tonight. He's got a power outage. So he's got no power at his house. That's the only reason Rich wasn't here. So
a lot of bad storms up in PA, I heard.
Yeah.
And it went in, and I heard it went into Jersey too, where you are.
We didn't get that bad. It was just mild showers, but it didn't miss by much.
The shore got hit, but further north from Jason.
North of us, right? North of us. Yeah.
I have a dome over my house, Charlie. So
he's living in a bubble.
Yeah, I have a dome. Lynn, any last minute things for you before we get out of here?
Doug's leaving on Sunday, and I'm leaving also for New Hampshire on Sunday. It's Antique Week up in New Hampshire, and there's several antique shows going on. And I don't do any of these shows. I just go up to hopefully buy up there.
Observe.
Are you going to get together with Steph again?
So, Steph's in Connecticut. I don't know whether she would come to New Hampshire.
They're really close, I think. I think they're next. She's got the fancy new Jeep. She wants to take that thing.
Yeah, she wants to get back into the hills.
Yeah, she's got to tear that Jeep off.
Come on up, Steph.
All right.
And then I come home for a couple days and head back up to New York State to actually do a show. It's the Madison Bachville Antique Week, starting, August 10th, I think. August 10th, and going through that whole week. So if anyone's in that area, I had a few people come through last year that, watch the show. So that's always fun.
All right. Well, make sure this weekend you give me any flyers so we can promote it while you're on the road. So, while you're jet setting in New York and New Hampshire and Doug's in Texas and Colorado, I got to keep the show rolling.
That's right.
That way, one day we get discovered and get to go on some Canadian show, Doug, looking for him.
I think one of us has to dress in drag to be.
That's Charlie. Where's Charlie?
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Just so we can.
Seems like only the women of YouTube get picked. So maybe Lynn's got a shot.
That's what I said, but we'll put her.
They got to find some place that's got some lost gold, so we have to look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if they do the lost horseshoes, Lynn, we'll map that.
Hey, let's not.
Yeah,
let's
that's
not forget.
Huge.
Let's not forget, fellas and gals here. There's lost gold in the county where we detect.
All right. Well, we'll have to look.
Gold in the county that we detect a lot. We may find it.
Well, I'm not giving up. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us all night. Again, thank Laurie Gagne for joining us. No relation to my favorite wrestler, Vern Gagne, but
Simone Gagne.
And then, of course, like I said, we'll be back next week with Chris Turner of the Ring Finders. I've got some good stories, incredible history, incredible service he provides. Should be another fun hunt. So we'll see you back here 1 week from today. But hey, otherwise, we're out here, everybody. So thanks for watching. Happy hunting, and we will see you on the next one.
Good night.